Hello everyone, it's Mike Blackburn here. Last week I wrote an article on the skyrocketing price of residential land right across Canterbury. I've literally had hundreds of messages, emails, and telephone calls from all sorts of people across the industry just commenting and giving me their examples of how extreme the market is at the moment. So I thought I'd follow up with a little bit of further commentary and just give you guys some examples of exactly what's going on out there. But before I start, perhaps it's a good idea to lay a little bit of context as to what's happened in Canterbury over the last decade or so to get to the point of where we are at the moment. So, following the earthquakes in Canterbury in 2010 and 2011, councils and developers got together very, very quickly and were able to bring lots of residential land forward for new residential subdivisions. Wigram, Preston's Park in Burwood, Rolleston, Lincoln, Kaiapoi, Rangiora, all over Canterbury, there was hundreds and hundreds, thousands, in fact, of brand new greenfield residential subdivisions which were brought on stream really, really quickly. And by 2014, in fact, we'd built. Replaced all of the houses that we'd lost in the earthquakes, and in fact, then built a couple of thousand more than we'd lost. And in actual fact, there was an oversupply in the market for quite a period of time in sort of 2015, 2016. So that just goes to show that we can bring land on stream if necessary. What's happened, obviously, there was because we overbuilt in that period, there was about 3 years where building consents dropped in Christchurch and Waimakariri, and they reached a low point in through to in about 2018. And from that point in time, the number of building consents has picked up dramatically to where we are today. And literally, we're back at the absolute peak of the earthquake rebuild. Unfortunately, what hasn't happened is that over that period of time, we've not been able to bring on the same amount of land equivalent to the same amount of houses that we have been building, which of course has led us to a significant shortage of land right at this point in time. And of course, Economics 101, supply and demand. When there's a shortage of supply, the demand curve moves to the right and prices increase as people fight over available land and prices go up. So what we're seeing at the moment is that land that is being developed, and don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of land that is being developed. You can see the map that's behind me. That's a map that I've put together of Christchurch North, basically from the Cranford Basin through to Belfast. And the yellow areas there show all of the land that is currently zoned new residential neighbourhood. Now that looks great on a map, and yes, there are quite a number of residential subdivisions which are being developed right at this very point in time. But of course, by the time you put bulldozers in a site, get resource consent, and apply for all the appropriate planning, look, it can be 2 years before you would see a house built. And so, of course, what's happening now is that whilst we're struggling to catch up with um, developing subdivisions, the land that's available at the moment that people are buying, you won't see title for it until the end of next year or possibly early 2023. And of course, that's why we're seeing a significant increase in prices. Of course, the other challenge that we've got is that there's a fine balance between councils in rezoning land and developers actually bringing that land to market. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's any games being played here, but obviously the restricted supply at the moment is certainly playing an advantage to those people that own the land that are bringing land onto the market, because we're seeing with a shortage of supply, we're seeing extraordinary prices right across the board. And of course, it's not just here in Christchurch. It's really, really evident in Rolleston and Lincoln. And in actual fact, a little wee interesting fact here is that over the last few months, Darfield has become incredibly popular with building consents because, of course, it's really tough to buy residential sections in Rolleston or Lincoln at the moment, and so therefore places a little bit further out like Lincoln, like Darfield and Leeston and even Southbridge are now becoming um, really, really popular and places where you know you can get a section, and so that's where people are choosing to build. So of course, what's the answer to the situation we face at the moment? And it's very, very easy for me to sit here and go, well, let's just bring more land on stream. As I said earlier, it's a very, very complicated, very costly process to develop greenfield subdivisions. Not only is it the opportunity to find land, get it rezoned, and then go through the process of actually creating a subdivision and all that period of time, it's a real challenge to the market um, to bring that land on stream in any sort of significant quantities. We are seeing progress there. I know that in Rolleston and Lincoln and Prebbleton, there are a number of subdivisions that are underway at the moment. Again, even though you may see these subdivisions being sold on the market at the moment, it's not likely that you're about to see houses built on them anytime soon. So what's happening in the overall market at the moment? I've used the example on a couple of occasions that the market's a little bit like a rubber band at the moment. The entire market, and this is the whole of New Zealand, not just Canterbury. The entire market is stretched to its absolute capacity. Um, we're building more houses in all of New Zealand than we've ever built before. I think this year to date, I think building consents are well in excess of 40,000. Building consents here in Canterbury are up 35% by comparison to the same 9-month period in 2020. And so we're building absolutely flat out. Um, I think we're probably at the absolute peak of what we can build at the moment, certainly with regard to available land, the amount of resources that we've got, the number of builders and sub-trades. Obviously, at the moment, another factor that the industry is really struggling with is limited supply of building materials. Look, I'll do a whole nother video on that next week. But all these things are coming to a head at the moment where increased prices of sections, maximum capacity, shortage of labour, increased prices of building materials. I am predicting that over the next 6 to 12 months that we will see a slowdown in the number of building consents that are being issued simply because the industry cannot keep building at this continued growth rate. It just doesn't, it's just not possible to keep building at this rate of growth. We just don't have the resources and the capacity to match up with the demand at the moment. So I'm not suggesting that we're going to see building consents fall off the edge of a cliff like we did following the peak of the earthquake rebuild, but certainly I am suggesting that we're going to see a slowdown in the number of building consents being issued. And trust me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that the industry is due for a breather, and I think that everything's sort of leading towards that. So, look, thank you for taking the time to sort of watch that. Look, love to hear from everyone who is either in the industry or is facing challenges, or maybe if you've got a good news story, please do send me an email. You can comment below whatever this channel is that I've posted this video on, and or alternatively, you can give me a telephone call. You'll find my number on this particular site. So, thank you for taking the time to watch, and please let me know your feedback. Happy to hear from you.